And now I want to talk about greed. Greed in the marketplace, greed with our trading, whatever you want, however you want to distinguish it. I've got a little write-up here that I'll throw on the screen for note-taking purposes so you can kind of follow along with what I'm talking about. But so first of all, what sparked this? Well, had a member that seems to still be struggling with some execution, staying in trades too long, wanting to squeeze out more gains, maybe not getting in when they should, all that stuff. And on paper, these all seem like simple things to correct. Okay, well, if you're staying in too long, just get out quicker. If you're not getting in quick enough, then, place your buy order first, and we always try and put things in the context of trading and how can we address it trading wise. And I think sometimes that can be a mistake. And this is one of those cases. Greed is the biggest challenge all traders face. To me, there are two types of greed that you're going to interact with as a trader. There's fearful greed and there's excited greed. Fearful greed is when your approach to trading is influenced by fear in an overprotective manner. You're greedy out of fear and you actually do things defensively that may not seem greedy, but really they are. Excited greed is the obvious one. Your approach to trading is influenced by excitement in an over-aggressive manner. That's the obvious one as far as you're in a winning position, right? You're in a winning position, but you stay in, even though you know you should be exiting because you just want to sell it a little bit higher. Or you trade a stock that's not moving because you have envisioned a grand move is set to take place, even though there's no evidence to support your theory, and you get all excited and you put in 10 G's because you're like, man, I'm going to make 20 G's off this, and this is going to be my big score, right? That's the obvious one. We all recognize excited greed, I think. The less obvious one, and possibly the more important one, is fearful greed. So this is something like when a stock is approaching an area that you liked for an entry, but you decide to see if you can get in a little bit lower. So, you had your order placed to buy in, but you cancel it once it's getting close to filling and lower it to try and get in lower, get that perfect entry, that greedy entry, and then it ends up bouncing right where you would have bought in the first place, and now you're left without a position, and then you chase and it messes everything up. Or maybe you exit a position right away because you just want a winning trade, right? How many times have you made a couple bad trades in a row? You're down 200, 300 bucks, and you then all of a sudden get in a trade that goes up 10% and you're up 200, 300 bucks, and you sell it right away simply to match the loss that you had. That is greed out of fear. You were so fearful of being down on the day that as soon as you got back to break even, you exited the trade, even though it maybe might have made sense to stay in that trade. Or you're down on a position, and this is the one we have all done, and new traders do, and it's going to kill them until they stop doing it. They enter a position, it's a losing position, but they stay in it because as soon as they sell, it's going to go back up. Yeah, I'm here to tell you now, if I see you in chat saying Apple went up as soon as I sold, of course, man, LinkedIn bounced as soon as I exited. That always happens. You're an idiot. You're a dumbass. I don't mean to insult you, but I'm just keeping it real, and somebody needs to tell it like it is. That's not happening. It's just a freaking coincidence. Nothing pisses me off more than when I see people saying this, and they're convinced that as soon as I sell, it's going to go up. All right, well, why don't you stay in and lose another 50% and then talk to me? That is fearful greed. You are being greedy out of fear. That 5-10% loss you could take is going to feel a hell of a lot better than the 40, 50, 60% loss you will end up taking. So now that we have identified these two elements of fear, I want you to be able to know if these types of of greed, I want you to know if these types of greed are holding back your trading. How do you know? Well, you answer this question honestly and objectively. Are you satisfied with the way you traded last week? Are you satisfied with the way you traded last month, last year, etc.? Answer that question. Really answer it honestly. And if you aren't satisfied, then chances are greed played a role in that. Maybe you kept selling too early. Maybe you forced a bunch of trades. Maybe you stayed in losing trades too long. Whatever it is, chances are when you really give some critical thought to how am I feeling about my performance, you will remember trades that were influenced by greed. Whatever the reason, non-satisfactory execution can always be traced back to an element of greed, be it fearful or excitement. Now, what's interesting about greed in the trading environment is we naturally try to overcome it by looking around that very same environment. Meaning we stay in the trading environment itself in terms of addressing our problems with greed. We think up different approaches. Oh, I'm going to start scalp trading. Oh, I'm going to start day trading. Oh, I'm going to start swing trading. Oh, I'm going to stop trading on Fridays. We think about these different rules, different whatever, all in the hopes of changing the way we approach trading for the better. And that's all well and good. But the problem is it's focused on the wrong target. I'm not saying you shouldn't be evaluating your trading and analyzing ways you can avoid mistakes and put yourself in better situations. What I am saying, though, is that's not where it starts and that's not where it ends. You didn't start suffering from greed once you started trading. You didn't start suffering from greed once you started trading. Trading is simply the magnifying glass of all greedy characteristics. But in reality, your problems with greed stem from how you have lived your life every single day before you even started trading and opened your platform. Guys, this is something you have to think about. My trading did not start improving until I started thinking about it this way, until I started looking outside my platform, looking around my daily life and noticing things I could be doing differently. The way to become less greedy as a trader is to manipulate your everyday life to reduce greedy moments. So how do we do that? Well, I've got a lot of broad ways you can become less greedy in your everyday life that will help you. Okay, first of all, volunteer. Me personally, I've been a big brother mentor to the same kid for over 7 years, and it feels good. And helping people who really need your help will make you feel grateful. And maybe you'll remember that feeling of grace the next time you have a 20% gain staring you in the face. Maybe you'll be grateful for that gain instead of wanting it to be a 25% gain. Do things you don't want to do. Do things you don't want to do. Today, true story, I went to church with my girlfriend. I am not religious at all. I was not raised religious, any of that. But I know my girlfriend's religious, and I know how happy she gets when I go to church with her. And it's the dumbest thing. But all I need to do is just sit there for an hour and pretend to be enjoying myself, and she loves it. It shouldn't be hard to think of things you don't want to do and start doing them. And it doesn't necessarily have to be for other people. I'm just sharing my personal ideas. This one, to me, is important and often maybe kind of laughed at, but it shouldn't go underrated. Get to know your parents and your loved ones. Having strong relationships with the people who know you the best and raised you will help you to understand how you have become the person you are today. 2-3 years ago, I did things that I really didn't understand. Well, I've spent the last few years getting to know my father on a personal level, and for better or for worse, I understand some of the things I started doing now. and same with my grandparents. I see how I have become the person I am because I have learned more about them and things make more sense just in terms of the way I process situations and whatnot. Challenge yourself with recreational activity, whether it be a new workout routine at the gym, reading a book, learning a new language or skill. There are so many different ways you can challenge yourself. And by getting out of your comfort zone with new challenges, it will help you advance as a trader. One of the things for me, I'll give you some examples. I used to never sell premium. I used to always be scared of selling premium. It was completely new for me. I only observed the risks of it. Well, about 4 or 5 months ago, I started selling premium, and it's actually become more profitable a strategy for me than owning premium. Well, one of the things I also started doing around that same time, looking back, is I started shooting 100 free throws a night a couple times a week, trying to make 100 free throws in a row. I had never done that. I've played basketball my whole life, and for the record, I've never made the 100 in a row. The best I've done is 95 out of 100. But the point is, I don't know why I never tried to shoot 100 in a row. I think maybe it's because I would always get so pissed if I didn't make 100 in a row. But I learned that, hey, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'll have fun. And if I don't make 100 in a row, I'm not going to be all pissed off. I'll see how well I can do. And it kind of, I think, helped me start to sell premium because it's the same thing. You know what? If it doesn't work, I'll still try and have fun and we'll see where it goes. So challenge yourself with a new recreational activity or by making adjustments to an existing recreational activity. If you're benching 225 10 times, try and bench 235 10 times. Simple things. This next one's important. Discipline your lifestyle. Discipline your lifestyle. If you go out to eat 2 times per week, start only going out to eat once per week. If you drink or smoke every weekend, start doing it every other weekend. If you spend money shopping each month, cut the amount in half for 6 months. It shouldn't be hard to figure out areas of your lifestyle you could discipline. Maybe you want to lose 10 pounds. Maybe you want to add 10 pounds. Maybe you want to eat better. Maybe, you want to wake up earlier. Maybe you want to go to sleep earlier. Whatever it is, we all have areas in our life that we can discipline if we really try. And by introducing more discipline to your lifestyle, it'll be easier to introduce more discipline to your trading habits. Lastly, do something that scares you or makes you uncomfortable. This is kind of similar to challenging yourself with a recreational activity, but it's a little bit different. And, without putting your life in danger, some of the ideas I have: go skydiving, go skiing, take a trip somewhere exotic if you're afraid of flying, watch a scary movie, swim in the ocean, drive to the middle, and I've done this one, and this one's a good one. I'll tell you right now. Drive to the middle of nowhere with a friend at night, turn off your headlights, and get out of your car. Do that. I go up to the middle of nowhere in Michigan a couple times a year, and I did that this last summer. That shit was creepy. Okay? So that's just one of the ones I've done. It's the only one in this list I've done that I'm actually scared of. But, you do something scary, it adds an element of risk. You feel it in your stomach when you're doing it. And at the end of the day, that's what trading is about. It's about taking new risks, learning to become comfortable with something new and accepting that risk, accepting that fear, and nullifying that fear and realizing that, hey, I'm really okay. I'm standing out here in a cornfield with no lights and nobody's popped out of the cornfield with a knife and killed me yet. And that's really what trading is in a lot of ways. People start trading and you make a couple trades and you look and you say, hey, well, started with $1,000. I've only got 900, or now I've got 1,100. It's really isn't that hard. Not that bad. So you need to figure out ways to improve your trading outside of market hours. That's the bottom line. I had a quote this weekend on my Twitter. I said, I believe I have improved more due to my approach on Saturday and Sunday than my approach on Monday through Friday. And what that means is my improvement in trading is coming from this list of things, things I'm doing on the weekend that are subconsciously going to help me during the week when I'm executing my trades. Ignore these at your own risk. Laugh at them, brush them off. Go about it a different way. Do whatever you want. If you want to make your life easier as a trader, you'll start doing some of these. And it's not hard to figure out what to do. It's not hard to find somewhere to volunteer. It's not hard to figure out things you don't want to do and start doing them. I'm not saying change your life. I'm just saying evaluate your life, look at it, figure out little things you can introduce, because do not underestimate how those changes in your life will start to show up as positive changes in your trading.